Vagabundo.
For those who ask me about the fortresses, that's the second one. That's the second one that you can visit during your stay in Sibenvik during your free time. And this is the only place from here you can see it. So like that, it's easier to orient. So the one on top of the hill, that's Paron.
Did you see it?
It's up on top of the hill with the flag.
So few fortresses that are and that one Paron. You can see that's already completed. So it is in the town, but not in this particular.
Ooh.
So our history is very significant for us. I can even imagine when we start explaining it. When we talk about history, it depends which part we are talking about. So let's say at this time, up north you had Western Empire and here you have India. So unfortunately, that's the longest period in our history that we were under one ruler. So we're gonna first see from the start. So in 11th century we were nations, but everything that you can see was built in 14th, 15th century. Fortunately, we will never see the
Uh-oh. Here we go. President of Operation Independence.
mallow. It has nothing to do with the fruit, but we don't have city walls anymore. Which is great because no one was invading us anymore. But also like that we got
No matter. Yes. Yes.
a little bit of fresh air. United States.
England.
Because for those who are coming from the United States, normally you're always walking talk. You have to relax. Yes, and it takes a couple of days until you start with that malo. No rush. Even if you're late, you're never late, because waiting for you they came earlier, so don't worry. So now we are in the old historical part. You can see how the houses look like. You can see when I said no private life. So basically, you can see in your neighbor's house. You can hear everything during our walk. If it will be quiet, then you can hear when they flush the toilet and everything. So when I mean everything, then everything. Streets, this is 19th century. There were several moments in our history, let's say, that we like to talk about, so some important moments. So one was 1066, when town was mentioned for the first time. Then we had this big plague in 1649, when it was almost the town. And it was in 1895, we're going to talk about him a lot, Mr. Nikola Tesla. You know about the car, of course, electric car, but also a person. If I have someone from New York, he lived most of his life. He was born on the territory of Croatia, Nikola Tesla, but he moved to the United States. Most of the life he lived there. He died, and you can still visit him in a hotel New Yorker. And we're going to talk about that gem quite a lot. So you can see how the houses look like. It's very chilly inside. Not cold, but actually quite cool. Especially in summer. When outside is 40 degrees, streets are like this, very narrow. So even during summer, when it's very hot, 40 it would be like your 90. It's in shade, almost the whole town. Of course, some streets are in the morning in shade, and the others in the afternoon. Houses are built in this way, which is okay at the age of 26, of course, but when you get older, the problem is that each house is like this on several floors. So let's say this one is ground floor, first, second, third. It doesn't mean that you have 4 apartments, but it is one house. But on each floor you have a different part of the house. So it means up and down, 1,000 times per day. We're quite in good shape, but still, kitchen is always on top floor. Always. You maybe know why?
Fire.
Yes, because of the fires. So someone said that collateral damage would be your wife over there cooking. Of course, today we compromise, we cook both men and women, of course. But back then, for men, let's say, you had the ground floor with a tavern. It was a place where family would keep their wine, their olive oil, something that you would keep, let's say, today in your refrigerator. And back then, a cool and dark place was your ground floor. I can't call it a cellar, but you will see that there are some entrances that are a little bit lower. So when you open the doors, you can see there are 2 or 3 steps to go down. So the ceiling is basically normal, but like that, you are a little bit under the street level. So it is a little bit darker and cooler. So we're gonna go straight like this and turn immediately right. You will see lots of churches. I will not talk about all of them, because first you will forget. We had more than 20 churches in the old park, so if I start talking, I think that Viking might leave without you. So it would take a long time. But we were very religious. For 12,000 people, till 7th century, we had officially 24 churches. So turning right. Slowly fall down.
That's a good idea.
Go. It's basically, I think that this is coffee. Coffee was consecrated to stay, to relax, pomalo. So you order a coffee, and even if it's an espresso, a short roast, you drink it for at least 2 hours.
Coffee is at least 2 hours to sit.
I had several years ago, it was a funny situation. Someone said, okay, we would like to sit down and have a coffee to go. And I said, sorry, don't do that. I know what is coffee to go, but what does it mean to And poor people have to explain, well, it's a coffee, and if you go into a bar and you ask for coffee, you put it in a cup and then you go. I said, you think so? What do you mean? Do you know you have this? Oh, yeah. And then what do you do with that cup? You go. Then I said, you go. No, I was kidding. First of all, you do this, but this coffee is delicious. Shall we go grab a coffee? She said, we have the water. That's very
That book is The Circle and Beyond. That book was called The Circle and Beyond.
Orientation. 2 minutes. And sometimes you will hear crowds very loud, repeating. That's normal for us. It's not an argument. It's just a normal conversation. We're just in front. And we have to be loud because we are not really polite. Like in a way, we are waiting, for someone else to finish the sentence. No. So basically, I start, and then the person who is speaking has to be louder, and then I get louder, and then they get louder. So that's why we are loud, because basically we are all talking at the same time. So the suite, we went up, and this one to your left, it depends, but mostly to your left, that's Kale Larga, Kala, street large. So this would be the largest street in the town. So it's not really large, but it is the largest, because it was the main street. Because at the end of this street, you have a square with a cathedral street, St. James, that you saw on our way. If you would continue this way, that's how Ante came with his group. That building over there was a bank. You can't see it from here, but on the left side of that building, you go to a passage. There's that building, and left our theater, and in between, basically, you go through. Back then, we had the main entrance of the city. So that's the end, not of the earth, but of the town, of this historical part. You have a nice square, so you can basically, let's say, walking, you can go straight, and you can turn right, and then again you're going down towards the sea. So very simple. So that's Kale Larga. From the the main entrance to the most important part of the town, the church. One of, but the main one. And that street, we mostly had noblemen and aristocracy, and that street is, let's say, not so important for us. Not so interesting. I can't say important, but not interesting. We have a street that we call Greasy Street. Not really clean one. It's a normal street today, but we call it Greasy Street till today. When you ask people, for example, when we have tourists, with their bags and everything, with their luggage, and they ask us, okay, sorry, I have an apartment in Zagreb, Bačka ulica. We have no idea where that is. So we don't orientate by street names. We don't know street names. Not only us, but generally in Dalmatia. So we orientate by places. We use some names that are, let's say, 100 years old. Some family names, some stores, some small factories, something like that. That definitely doesn't exist anymore. So let's say younger generation has no idea why the name of that place is like that, but we all call it like that. Greece. So why Greece? Today, Sibenvik is a very modern town, two UNESCO sites, Pellegrini restaurant. In 1972-3, we still had horses walking through the town. So this is very recent what you see. So till the end of 19th century, people were cultivating the land. 80% of people were basically farmers. And then came electricity. So going back to Nikola Tesla. So Greece is the end of 19th century, to be exact, 1895. Electricity came to Sibenvik. If you Google it, Google can be your best friend, but also your worst enemy. You will find that the town of Sibenvik was the first town that got electricity. It's a big fact.
Oh,
No, but I will teach you so you will know what is really true. You know how you can play with information and with statistics, especially with statistics. People love statistics, but you can always use it. So, how does it go? The first water power plant in the world was Niagara, Nikola Tesla. If you want to know that, for those who want to know more, there is a movie, War of Currents, between Edison and Tesla.
yeah.
But basically, the whole background story, Edison and Tesla. Edison's electricity was back then the only one that we were using. But the problem with that electricity is that you couldn't transfer it long distance. You would use it. Today you can have a power plant very far away. Because Tesla electricity, you can transfer it alternating current, you can transfer it long distance. Back then he had a mayor, Mr. Ante. He had a son. He went to Frankfurt for World Exhibition. He came back home and he said, Dad, electricity, I saw that it can be transferred from a power plant that was 200 kilometers away. So his father, he said, okay. So they started digging, Googling, but in another way. So they found Tesla's electricity. So their plan, which succeeded, in the National Park Krka, you still have remains of that first water power plant in Europe that started producing Tesla's electricity. 26th of August, 1895, Niagara started producing electricity. Our power plant, 2 days after, 28th of August. But there is always a but. 28th of August, a little bit after 8 o'clock, it was 20 past 8, the town of Sibenvik immediately 28th of August got electricity. And Buffalo City, close to Niagara Falls, next year.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
the power plant started working 2 days after, but basically the town of Sibenvik. So now this is crucial. It was the first town in the world that for the first time got the whole system. So you had production. So you have to say all of this. If you miss something, then you're lying. So for the first time, you had production of alternating current on the water power plant. You had 11 kilometers of cables and street lights. So all the lamps in Sibenvik are not identical, but similar copies of those lamps at the end of 19th century. So of course, when electricity came, in some books, it's a little bit we are exaggerating, but Sibenvik was the second, so was the Manchester of second industrial revolution. So from rural, industry started, and in this street, in 120 meters, we had 9 restaurants. Which is, from today when you think about it, 9 restaurants is nothing, but 9 restaurants back then in a town that was rural, because everybody had to eat something. Not these like noblemen and aristocracy, but port workers, carriers, people who were carrying things, people working, like building, construction workers. They were all eating in this street. So we're gonna slowly walk because I know how to do it.
That's why it's called Greasy Street.
Greasy?
Greasy Street.
Charlie. No.
Like an inn. Let's call it an inn because when I say restaurant, then you think about something fancy. It was great food, but for one, let's say, two support workers between 9 and 11 come here not only to eat but also to hang out. So it was all about yoga. What do we smoke? There were several places where you could meat, so all of that we today. So we will follow in a couple of seconds, right? Here. These two houses that are only passing through, not important that the owners were men, but who runs the business were women. You know how it is. So we say that a man should be out of the family, and then we open slightly that women are the next. Now you need the that's where my mother-in-law watch your step. So in that house, it had the most famous inn. The owner, her name was Maria. In this building behind you, those are offices of the National Park Krka, so their administration. But here lived a lady, her name was Jovanka, it doesn't matter, but Maria and Jovanka, they were neighbors, so they knew their names, but they didn't feel like each other. So when they would talk about each other, they would never mention their names. So they would always say like her, she, what is she doing, where is she going? But when two ladies were in a really serious fight, when they wouldn't even say hi on the street, you know what, I found the exact word in English, but I forgot it, but I will explain you. So today, thank God, we have toilets. And back then, by the bed, you had a bedpan or a bed or
Chamber pot.
Chamber pot. Okay, so chamber pot. Two ladies, when they were in a serious fight, they would put chamber pots on their window, just to show that they are in a serious fight. There is something serious going on. It's one of the funniest things that I've heard. That, and it's not related to Sibenvik, but it's just funny. Zagreb, I was in Zagreb, and my colleagues, they showed me a public house, prostitutes back then. So, every window had a dwarf, and every girl had their own room. So basically, you knew which girl is in which room. And they all had dwarfs on their window. So, if a dwarf is standing, she's free, she's not working. If the dwarf is laying down, she's also laying down. She's working.
Okay, maybe.
It's one of the funniest things that I've learned. We also had several public houses. It was completely normal and legal till 1934 to own a public house. The owner could only be a woman, not a man. Public house, you could open it. You had strict rules and regulations. You had a license. The house, it was forbidden to have a public house in a place, let's say, close to some school or theater or some like public place like that. It was forbidden for girls to lean on the window. They had to close their shutters during the night, and they had to have a fence. So if they had neighbors, fence should be at least 2 meters, so you can't see what's happening to in your neighbor's house, and also your neighbor doesn't see what's happening there. But for girls, it was they had to sign that they are doing that voluntarily, and twice per week they went in hospital to get checked. So till 1934. But we still can find old articles in our newspapers from 1958, 1959. People are talking about prostitutes. So basically, public houses became illegal after 1934. But of course, the whole profession didn't disappear. Yes, that's basically everywhere. We can really find we know names of some ladies. My grandfather, for example, when first bars started, opening, of course not bars as today, but there were 3 bars in the town, and my grandfather came to Sibenvik after the Second World War, and we were talking about bars and everything, and my mother, he said that he was a little bit strict, he didn't want to let her to go into a bar, because even when she was about to get married. But from his point of view, he said we had 3 bars. It was of course for men. So he said it wasn't a place for a lady. For ladies, you had coffee shops where they could go eat ice cream, drink tea, coffee, something like that. But bars were for men. And then he added there were several ladies going there, but those were ladies of suspicious moral.
Suspicious moral. I like that.
Suspicious moral. He didn't have to say anything.
I don't want my daughter hearing that.
So going from public houses to public water, we had, again, going back to the national park Krka. Croatia is one of the richest countries in Europe by the quantity of fresh water. The only problem here is that, let's say if you're coming from a place where water is soft, if it doesn't have lots of calcium carbonate inside, then your hair can feel a little bit and skin a little bit different. But it's very clean because it is filtered. You saw Dalmatia are only rocks, so stone and rocks. And it's limestone, which is a perfect filter for the rain. So again, going back to the same mayor, Mr. Ante, he was a really a visionary. So not only electricity, but also water. We had 2 public reservoirs till the end of 19th century, and then in 1879, here it's written, 12th of May, we built a water system. We got 6 public taps or fountains, taps. So of course it wasn't possible to bring immediately water to each home. So you would come here and you would take. It still works, which is, let's say when you come and you're coming from countries which don't have problem with fresh water. But when we have, let's say, guests, I had several clients from Israel. For them, they have to desalinate the sea. They have water reduction, and it's advised to take a shower less than 2 minutes. Forbidden to wash a car with a hose. So having water. Public and free. So you can always bring your bottle, you can always refill it. I had a funny situation several years ago. Someone said, "Is it safe to drink?" I said, "Yes, it's safe." And then I added, I'm not sure what was I thinking. And then I said, "Okay, we'll see in 20 minutes." So it's completely safe. It's completely safe. Don't worry, this is tap water that I have in my house. So that's from the National Park Krka. We have 6 fountains, and this is the first one open and still the last one standing.
There's a kitty cat.
Yes, it's a dangerous cat.
Oh, it's a dangerous cat.
Black and white, that's the daughter.
Oh, there it is on the chair.
Just for a second. When I say traffic sign, what do you have? What's the first thing that crosses your mind? Stop. It's always stop. So, traffic sign. So, inns, let's say restaurants, this is a small delivery car because there is no traffic in the old part. And this is an electric one, so you call them for delivery. And also you can see the streets are very narrow, so you can't basically, with the truck you can't go through. So the most important traffic sign in Sibenvik are those two twigs, or let's say branches. In this, juniper, olive tree, and pine tree. So you had dozens of taverns because everybody had a vineyard. And then, basically, on the ground floor of their house, they would sell their wine. There was a special rule, but unwritten rule. So let's say, if my wine is first to be ready, I'm the only one opening. After I sell all of my wine, then the second one who's ready opens, and then the third one, because like that the prices stay. If we all open at the same time, prices will go down. This was just an unwritten rule, but a traffic sign. Above the entrance of each tavern, you could find all three, two, or only one twig, depending on which wine you have. Red wine, juniper tree. It has nothing to do with red wine, of course, but just symbolically. Juniper, it means that if you want to drink white wine, you're not going in because they only sell red. Olive is for white, and pine tree is for rosé. So the most important traffic sign: stop and turn. Yes, rosé. And now we have some wine slowly that we call orange wine. It's not for, how do you say, it's not everyone's cup of tea. Sweet. Yeah, it's a little bit different, but if you like it, then. We will then relax, but from here, a little bit about legends. You like legends? So, we've talked about 28th of August 1895, Tesla, electricity, a moment in our history. Second most important, chronologically it happened earlier, but it doesn't matter. That last house that you can see straight in front of us, on the right side of the street. This one, first one, and then the second one you can't see, but there is a passage in between, so they are connected. That's a monastery, still today complete in function. It's a Benedictine monastery. There are 8 Benedictines, if I'm not mistaken, that still live there, and they really confirm this story. So, legend or not. 1649, it was plague came to Sibenvik several times. People didn't really know what was going on, but it's very similar to, at the beginning of COVID. We had no idea what was happening, but of course, we managed to find out very quickly. Back then, they didn't have the same possibility. So back then, they thought it was a punishment from God. You didn't go to church as much as you should. Where that tap is, there was a cemetery, of course, before. So during medieval times, it's completely normal. Of course, today you have cemeteries outside the city walls, but back then the church and that space around the church, that's the sacred ground. So normally in the church and around the church, you always had a cemetery. One of those 30 plagues that came to Sibenvik that happened, it came a first person who died. They buried him. But the problem is that people continue dying. And their only logical explanation is that it was him rising from the grave, going around and killing people. So they undug him, they took his body out, the whole town basically gathered. When they did that, when they opened and then they decided to kill him again, of course the plague even spread more. So it was that kind of situation. Not only here, but all over. Yes, there's a legend about our Sibenvik's werewolf. But I have a nicer story. So we're not going to finish with the werewolf. 1649, there was a young girl and a young boy, of course, Romeo and Juliet of Sibenvik. She was from a noble family. He wasn't. And their love was forbidden. He decides to leave, because he would probably meet her only during some walking or Sunday morning service. So he decided to leave, It was too difficult to stay here and to meet her like that, but not to be with her. She decides to stay. When plague came, and this part is really true, from 12,000 people, only 1,500 survived. We never recovered, but really never. It was really the worst one. So she said, because she was praying and she was helping her friends and her family, and she saw that nothing was helping, and she said, if plague stops, I will become a nun. So it was her votive gift. Something closest to a votive gift is, let's say, going into a church and lighting a candle and praying. So it was herself. She promised that she will enter the monastery. In December, plague stopped, because probably it was too cold and rats and fleas and everything, but hygiene was maybe a little bit better. So now she had to do what she promised, because plague stopped. In May next year, she became a nun. And really, ladies, so Benedictines from that monastery, they really confirmed there was a young girl that entered that monastery that year, that month. Was it her or not? We don't know. It doesn't matter. It's a story. So she became a nun in May. Our bishop, he said, it is her. So the young girl saved the town, but we are now grateful of what she did, but we will slowly forget, people as people. Because of that, in her honor, we will not have weddings during the month of May in Sibenvik. Still today. Still today, people are avoiding May. We had a wedding a couple of days here, and we have a big Viber group, our Guides Association. We have some 80 members. So we started this conversation about marriages, and we have a colleague who helps and he works in the cathedral. He said, really officially, they have 90% less marriages comparing with other months during the month of May in the cathedral. So there is something related. Even not all, there are not people here in Sibenvik. Some of them know the story, but some of them they don't. But they will still tell you, don't get married in May. It's not a good month.
I'm saying, marry in May and you'll lose the day.
So you see, there is something with that month. I'm sorry if someone got married in May. but there is something in France, in some villages, they say it's a month of Virgin Mary. So it's not that it's not a good month, but they just don't get married during that month because they have some other, I don't know, ceremonies or services, or so month is
good for tours.
Sorry?
It's good for tours.
Yes, it's not crowded. And we can enter the cathedral. These steps during summer is like an open air cinema, especially for International Children's Festival. It is the longest International Children's Festival in the world. 60 something years. As I said, I'm really bad in math. 60 something. Only during the war, 1 or 2 years, we didn't organize it, but you know that the war lasted longer and we were organizing it but underground in shelters. And during summer, we put a screen here. So these steps are for children, so they sit down and they watch movies. It's a good movie, then they have to come here quite early to find a nice one. It is always the last week of June and the first week of July. And then they are on vacation till the beginning of September.
Going down.
The school system is sometimes difficult to explain because, of course, it's different all over the world. But let's say the primary schools here are easier. We start working 8 to 7, even They are in school, but school excursion. So they are not from here from Sibenvik, but they came here to visit the town. I asked them, why you not in school? That's the director of our tourist board. I sent him a message this morning, you know, please. There are some things that have to be done in the town. He's a very, very kind man. I sent him a message to my he's very people loving. So he's very, very approachable. So we're gonna slowly continue because the truck will turn and they will go back. So turning a little bit back. If you look and turn right, check something on the floor to your right. On the ground. There are two small holes. Especially on the second one, it says amor. Yes, it says amor di can. So when you turn on the ground to your right, that's 17th century. Before the for cats. Still today, especially during summer when it's cold movies, you can. They still hear from the hotel from the shop over there. They put a little bit of water for cats and dogs. It can be a little bit slippery, so be careful. There is a plan to renovate the whole park. You know how you can only imagine how it is. Because it is most of it is natural sand. Some parts were renovated, but mostly everything is original. At the beginning it was a silvery, but it's limestone, so it was polished, especially in the middle. So that's why it's a little bit adventurous tourism. And we will keep time to
Oh, I wouldn't want to be wearing my heels on that.
No stilettos.
No. Oh, I just love this town.
so you can see that the three cars
In the line.
like this you would
A ne kasnije, onda otiđite skroz na kraj ulice, tamo po onoj desnoj. Ajde, bok.
The thing is, Sibenvik was mentioned back in 66, but back then we weren't a town. We were some kind of fortified village. Because when you don't have a diocese, you cannot be a town. You don't have a statue of town, let's say. So we didn't have a diocese, we didn't have bishop until the end of 13th century. And then we became a town. So 13th century was the village cathedral in the city center. So really, really in the middle of the town. That would be where the tap was. So that's the city center. Because now we are very close to the sea. Making this church. Because this was the only city in the district that didn't have a church. They had a church in Trogir, which is a city tap, 1 hour away. So they had a small town and have a cathedral. So you have to, by law, again, over there we already had a church, but we also had a church here. You can see that immediately that this is the most beautiful square in the town, the most important square.
Most of the churches are Roman Catholic because it was started by Venice.
Well, basically Croats were from the beginning. Okay, not an easy answer.
Question.
It's a good question, but not a short answer. But I won't go too far. When Croats came, it's a bit hard to say Croats is Croats. We came with, we are definitely Slav. But let's say in 6th and 7th century, we came with tribes like barbarians and everybody. Of course, among them, you had Croatians, let's say. It's not that everybody from before just magically disappeared. I'm not sure if you ever wondered Dalmatia, where does it come from, so the word. You had Illyrians that lived here, of course territory not Croatia but a large area, larger. And you had tribes, different tribes among Illyrians, and you had tribes here living, their name was Dalmatians. Of course, when Romans, when Greeks came, Illyrians didn't disappear, they mixed. Like a melting pot, you like that. And then in 6th and 7th century came Slavs, and of course they mixed with the people that were here. In 6th and 7th century we converted to Christianity. So basically from our beginning, immediately we converted to Christianity. So religion here from the beginning was always Christianity, Catholics. The only one church, there's only one church in the old historical part. We passed it by. I didn't talk about it, but there's only one church which belongs to the Sibenvik. You know how Catholic churches, they accept Pope as the highest priest, but Orthodox churches are state related. So that's why you have Greek Orthodox, Russian Orthodox, and here, if you have Orthodox, then it's Serbian Orthodox. So of all churches in the old historical center, there's only one that belongs to the Orthodox Church. Also, the story is interesting because at the beginning it was a Catholic church, and then it was during a short French domination. It was sold or given. They can't agree about that. If they say given, then the Catholic Church might ask to get it back. If they say sold, then... But sold or given, it doesn't matter. It was a Catholic church, and then for Templars, and then given to the Orthodox Church. We have an Orthodox church not in the city center, but that one is not very far away from here. It is in function. In the morning there is service, in the afternoon, so completely functional. So we have approximately 2,000 people in Sibenvik. Someone told me several years ago that declare themselves as Serbian Orthodox. But mostly what you will see are Roman Catholic. So going back to the cathedral. So the cathedral was built in we started building in 1431. We finished in 1536. So if you calculate it very quickly, for those who are good in math, 105 years. Why? Because of course they stopped several times. On this square, first it's an interesting square because underneath there is an empty space. You can see there is a well over there, where you have, I'm not sure if you can see, behind that table over there, we were collecting water from the rain. One or two our public reservoirs still 18th century. And then we built on this square something that we call city hall, called Great Loggia. It was for all important documents, business, suing, basically for everything. You had city hall, which is still in function as a city hall. It is on the first floor. You have our city members, members of city council, where they argue. You know how it goes. Everywhere is the same. And on the ground floor, of course, where it functions, we have a restaurant and a bar. We started, so you can imagine, we waited from the end of 13th century, 1298, till 1431, and then we started. We stopped very soon, 10 years after, and then we invited this gentleman. You will see his tattoo on his shirt. His name was George of Dalmatia. Like George or Michael, those are favorite names in Chile. So George, he was born in Zadar, town next door, going up north. He came here. He was working in Italy. He was already famous architect. He came here. He looked at the tattoo like he got that in mind. He said, no, I see where you're going, but no. So, what's the thing? This part, to the wall here, and those heads over there of animals and people, it was already built. The same thing on the other side, and the main entrance that you will see in a couple of minutes. So, he came and he said, you've been waiting basically like 150 years, so, and you are building something pretty good, something small. I will help you, but with my hands completely free. I want to build it. And he was very, very VIP. He was very famous because he was but his hands completely free. So, you can see how this one part of this house is like missing. You can't can't see it from here, but this street goes down. It's not a long street, it's a couple of meters, turning right and then going down to the sea, but it turns, goes straight, right, down. Normally streets are just straight, because this part from the door down, left, this was completely added by George. It's like an additional part of the cathedral, because this part was already built, we couldn't change it. So, that building over there today is a city museum, but back then it was Duke's house. He moved basically one part of the Duke's palace, his home, near Duke. He moved his house, one part of his house, to be able to add this part of the cathedral. How he managed it, we have no idea. Unfortunately, our Bishop's Palace documents were lost during a fire in 16th century, so there are still some things that we probably don't know. Why UNESCO? There are several reasons. Especially the vaults, so not the whole cathedral, but the vault with the dome. For the first time, George used a method used here for the first time. That method, it wasn't his invention, because it was already used with wood, but never with stone. Never. I'm not sure if you're going down south or going up north, but down south, you have the town Split, and the first island that you see, that's Brač. Brač is a very famous island. In some brochures and Google, you will find that the part of the White House was built of the stone from the island of Brač. Some people say it's never proven, but we like to stuff it. So the most famous stone, limestone, ordinary limestone, when it's very polished, looks like marble, but it's just limestone. That's the most famous stone in Sibenvik. This cathedral, 98% of the cathedral is built of that stone. Every piece was taken from the quarry on the island, already like pre-made, pre-shaped, brought here and assembled. Do you know Legos? How Legos work? Completely. Okay, so how does it go? Yes. So when we are visiting the town with children, we ask them to explain that a little bit more, and then we ask them about the glue, and they're like, you never play with Legos, what glue? What do you mean glue? You don't glue them, you just stick them into, you stack them. So, 1991, our cathedral was bombarded. It was a bomb. It was a bomb that went through the dome, fell on the main altar, but it didn't explode. Miracle, of course. 1990, and you can see the church bell. Sorry, you can hear the church bell, but you can't see it. Our cathedral doesn't have and never had a church bell. Never. So we are using a bell from a church next door. Special method of building for vaults and for the dome. 1996, when they had to repair the dome, you can find on YouTube from 12 minutes. You have a video, you have a keystone. They thought it would be very, very heavy and very complicated. It's a very fine system. It's not one stone. You can see the angel on top. You can't see angel. Okay.
No,
It's just a decoration, but that angel is on the stands on the keystone. And the keystone is not only one. You had piece by piece. They took it out, and then you can't take something for it. When something like this happens suddenly, then we say true. What you're talking about, we say true. If a glass falls or if you do something like by accident, then we say true. So you can't take, let's say you build something very simple, wall of Legos, and you can't take one Lego from the middle. So the same thing here. It goes from the keystone, which holds the whole structure together. It goes like this, slowly, till the end. The part in the middle was destroyed. They slowly took the keystone, first stone, second stone, third stone, until they reached the destroyed part. The same quarry, the same island. They took the stone, they shaped it from the destroyed part. Slowly, they reused the original part. They were okay. Slowly, piece by piece, like it from the end to the beginning, and they locked it. That method was built for the first time. And to 1996, they thought they knew. They thought they understood everything. Because you have pieces going in like this, but you have a little bit of space. So they knew that over there you're still on spot. They had to add one piece that looks like a triangle to reinforce the whole structure, but they didn't know that there is a second piece from the side. In 1996 they discovered it. And the cathedral is 15th century. So basically they didn't understand it. This is easy. Okay, we are going to you have those portraits of Bar Michael. Okay, so now I will use your calculator. Just a little bit. You don't have to work on it. When I say medieval language, medieval times, what do you see? What do you think about? That medieval language. This is a very dark age, plagued with punishment from God. We didn't marry during punishment. Earth is flat. It's not that you can look and you can follow the earth. I will not bother you with styles, with architecture, but a little bit with the idea. When George came to Italy, he brought this new idea, to us a new idea of Renaissance. In English, Renaissance, in Croatian, Renaissance, it doesn't really have a meaning, but in French language, it's a perfect word, Renaissance. Renaissance means rebirth. We had Gothic style here, but with Renaissance style, with Renaissance idea, we also in Europe had philosophy called humanism. Sometimes we use the word museum. So when George came, church is still very strict today, you can imagine church. We were burning witches. 1443, the first official document about the Inquisition, about mother and daughter, is written here in Ship. And it's official document about Magna Doria. You know their names, you know basically everything. It was that kind of a period. And when George came, he brought this new Sibenvik. And what did he do? He decided to put on the wall of the main cathedral 71 portraits of women and children. We said, okay, it's a cathedral, so definitely that's someone important. So we started searching for dukes, bishops, and we couldn't find any. So basically, 71 ordinary portraits, like me, like my colleagues, like your friends from right here, just ordinary people. True idea of Renaissance is to show that this church doesn't. It belongs to the church, but it's not built because of the church, but for the church. You are the church. In Croatian language, when you say church for a building, it's a small c, circle. But when you mean people, then it's capital. So it was built for we're going to go to the main entrance. We'll see if we can enter the cathedral, because here you never know. The cathedral is completely in function. There is service in the morning, there are weddings. For example, yesterday, it was Sunday, there are two morning services, and there was a baptism immediately after. So it means that whoever visited the town of Sibenvik in the morning, you couldn't see the church inside. And then Pellegrini, those chairs over here straight. That's Pellegrini restaurant, one part of the stairs. So from here you can take photos. ask the lady waiting inside to unlock the door. So, if you want, you can take some photos. Also, you mostly have decoration. So, what you see from outside is normally in certain time you have, let's say, entrance like this, and you have like a beach. Here you have 3 layers, and the entrance of architecture. So we're gonna go in and
Can you give me more shorts?
They said no shorts. They said no shorts.
That's what I saw.
Changed, has it?
So where are we? Oh, okay. Where do I go? Oh, we can sit down.
malo opušteno, manje, malo tiše, strpi se. Especially first batches, but you will see as we go down the tapestry, you will see there are some blocks in the dome that are whiter than the others. So that's where the bomb went through and it fell on the main altar. Unfortunately, it didn't explode, so it didn't destroy the church. This is for the service. The painting is a little bit hard to see, but I will try to show you where it is. Go a little bit up, and between the angels there is a space. That's the painting Our Lady that arrived or completely clean. Everything is original. So for till the 1536, after 5 years, we just and you can see I mentioned black and gray. So this is basically how the whole cathedral looks like. And last couple of years they have been cleaning it by piece by piece. So like that, when you're coming, it's not the whole church that's covered with scaffoldage. The most complicated part to clean, to renovate, is of course this part. I got married in 2012 September. Immediately after I got married, I managed to make great photos, and then after that they put scaffoldage till 2000, the end of 2016, so 4 years of work in that part. So slowly, by piece, it costs. Sometimes people ask, does UNESCO help? With money, no. But you are visiting the cathedral because it is a very antique and
Aha, are we ready?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, let's go.
Same person.
Yeah, she's good. Okay, we're taking here first. We're taking here first line, yeah? It is very easy. She told me.
Oh, geez.
You will see in the middle there is a font, so basically to get baptized. It is still in function. I mentioned also we're going to go out to the other door because George is very, very clever. Normally, holy water and baptistry is at the beginning of the church because for people who weren't baptized, you couldn't enter the church before. So normally, that's why baptistry is at the beginning. After you get baptized, you go in. Here, George made the entrance from the other side, so you go from behind, let's say from the end of the church, you go through the door that was used to go out, you go in, into the baptistry, and then you have several steps to go down, like towards heaven, and you enter the church.
Nice plan.
So when you go inside, the most important thing is the ceiling. Normally people always think there is something in that well, in that font, but no, it's the ceiling. Everything is done by George. You will see red stone. Sometimes people think it's marble. It's not marble. It's again type of limestone. But it's red. So when you go in, you need to check the ceiling. Of course, you can check everything, but the ceiling is the part of the cathedral. Normally, when we don't visit the cathedral, when we don't go in, then we don't talk about this because this is impossible to explain or to show. And this is something that you really have to see to know. Even if or when you're not Catholic, this story really makes sense and you will understand how revolutionary this idea was. So, for the first time, George did something like this in the world. And with the heads, with the portraits that you saw outside, it is the idea of Renaissance. Okay, I'm slowly waiting for you until the last one. Okay. And just when you go in, you move forward because you don't block the entrance. Okay. So you have baptism font. This is how you put your child when he or she is getting baptized. Check the ceiling, the most important part. You have angels. In the middle, that medallion, there's this elderly man with beard. That's God, the Father. You can see a dove, a bird, symbol of peace, but also Holy Spirit. Holy Trinity, always, always. You have Father, you have Son, and you have Holy Spirit. For the first time in history, and as far as we know, the only place you can find it, something like this, it is here in the Cathedral of St. James. There are letters. In God's hand, He holds a message, the Bible, and the message says, during the baptism of Jesus Christ in River Jordan, when John the Baptist came and baptized Jesus, there was a dove, Holy Spirit, that flew down and said, "This is my beloved Son that I love the most." And the message says the same thing. So, where is the Son? Son is here. Or a daughter, of course. It depends. Because we are all just in the baptismal font. You can just leave it inside. They will come to you. have any questions about whatever, it doesn't have to be guided. So for the fortresses, just pick any steps that go up. And in some places you will have St. Michael's Castle or Fortress Castle, just slowly going up. When you are already there on the fortress, then you will see how to reach the second one, Barone Fortress. Two fortresses, Barone and John, were built to defend the town from the Ottomans. They are from 17th century. 16th century is Sea Fortress St. Nicholas. I'm not sure how long you are staying in Sibenvik. I'm not sure when you have to be back. But at the beginning of the promenade, there is a boat that drives you to the fortress of St. Nicholas if you also want to visit that fortress. But you just have to be careful about the timing and not to stay on the fortress and in Sibenvik there. We will be more than welcome to welcome you. You can always sleep somewhere, but I suppose that you would like to do it. So if you don't have any questions, I will slowly move back towards Viking. So who wants to go back? You can go with me, because I have to take this luggage back. But if you want to stay in town, I think that you will enjoy. You just do as we do. You find yourself a nice bar close to the sea. You just relax, you meditate, and you just watch people passing by and drink your espresso for 2 hours. You can't. It can be yes.
I was wondering if there's a place in town,
Yes.
pharmacy, that I could replace a watch band.
Yes, yes, not a pharmacy, but we really have a person who deals only with watches. Watch, talking about like this.
Yeah.
Okay. So this main street that we went with Greasy Street, we turned slowly down and then we moved. So basically, you start going as we came down, and you just continue straight.
So it's not on the way back to the ship?
No.
Okay.
It's on the way back, but through the town.
The pharmacy, I saw it.
Yes,
So do I
with
just-
where the tap is.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Is that where it is?
Yes,
Okay.
the pharmacy.
So go
Yes.
up and
Left.
left.
And you can always ask for the
Okay,
pharmacy.
all right.
And here people, everybody speaks English, so don't worry.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It depends on
Thank
your
you.
energy, you know, what you give, that's what you get.
Is this the last? Oh,
Thank you.
we don't have any euros.
Really enjoyed
We
that.
don't have euros. Is it American?
Yes, yes. My plan is to go to New York at some.
Oh, is there a place we can get some euros?
Yes, there
Right
is.
in the middle, I saw.
That
Big
one is closed.
Okay.
There should be an exchange office, if not this one, immediately here opened. Then again, straight through the town. Thank you. Straight through the town, immediately. Thank you. Immediately, where I showed you 2 bowls for dogs and cats.
Yep.
Just 10 meters straight on the left side,
Oh,
an
I saw
exchange
it on the
office.
left. Yep.
Yes. So
Okay.
again,
Cool.
you can't get lost.
I'm glad you know.
I saw it. Yep.
You're good.
Yes.
I'm not. Should I go that way?
In the
Yeah.
when you went to on your right, there's a statue there with a rose.
Saint Anthony. Saint Anthony. Yes. Thank you.
I'm with you.
I've seen it.
Good.
Because every summer here we organize international summer students classes. Quei 3-4 euro che ti prendono che ti viene da disegnare.
Let's go, ladies and gentlemen.
I would probably get 100.
I wonder if we can get euro. Yeah, you can get euros.
open. Let's see.
This one,
Yes.
95. Okay. Okay.
Do you take American in exchange?
Yes, you can change dollar.
Why don't you do that?
For 95 euros, is that okay? Can I, or do you want to keep that?
Probably be like $100 for 95 euros.
No, it would be a little. If I could, can I take that, or are you gonna need that?
This?
Yeah, that's what,
You
95?
want to change in kuna? No, you want to give me dollar and
For euros.
We don't have to, but
No. Or I can wait. I can go in town and
okay.
wait. Okay. Thank you.
or you
that's
could just
fine.
use your card and get it.
No,
No, they don't have enough.
in Croatia, not yet. I don't know why, but everybody asks for this, and it's
That's
normal
Kuna
everywhere.
here.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
No, not at all. Thank you so much.
We had Kuno yesterday.
We used the kunas we had.
Okay.
Now we
Thank
need
you so
euros, I guess, for the future.
Yes.
Oh, jeepers creepers. Loud American. Right behind you.
Say the English language. And he decided to order this window, and he wrote in Latin letters inside this window. I, Dr. Mark, order this window.
I don't get the kunas at all. I don't understand. I love those funky dresses. I've never seen any like.
Oh. You even get one and then pay over the amount and get cash back.
Yeah.
Like you do a quick trip.
There's another thing in town I saw, but it's closed, she said. There's a lot of machines.
Or you could just get it done.
No, let's just wait till tomorrow and get euros. Unless we can find any.
All right. Whoa. Look at that. Taxi while driving. We could have been dead meat. So there's a place that's just a watch store? Okay. ATM.
Yeah, there's cash machines everywhere.
There's your puppy. Hello.
Svila vam je bila zaražena kugom. I kuga se proširila.
Main square plus the cathedral. What that? You have to the square on the right side.
That should be a pharmacy. T-shirt that says,
You know, I can't really hear too well.
he's wearing a muscle shirt that says,
Was it the clinician guy?
says fuck.
Exchange. €1 is Oh, but that's Kuna. Well, we'll see.
Hello, sir. Do you have euros for the American dollars? For euros? Okay. 100 US dollars? Thank you.
You can get about 97 euros, maybe. And maybe a transfer fee. Is this ridiculous or what?
Oh, cool. Those are Marlboros. He used to smoke those. I haven't. Oh, those are cool. I like your boxes. Those are Marlboros. Can you see them in the corner?
Yeah, but I could I can't do it anymore because I got asthma. I'm immortal. You know, that's. And my grandma used to smoke 100s.
Okay. Okay. Euro. Thank you, sir.
I'm gonna grab the coins for you.
How much is that in Kuna?
€1.
Okay, cool.
That's €1.
You can buy one gum.
A stamp, yeah. Thank you so much. You want to get that? Grab that and throw it in your pocket.
Hey, yay. Okay. Did you see the watch place before you said? Or do we have to look for it?
Ujutro mi ne paše, iša bi nešto dobio grada. Eto,
that's it?
pa kad bi se vratio, onda bi sutra, samo kad se vratim.
Well, if it's crowded.
No, it's just a small shop. Did you get in line?
Should I?
Imamo u Šibeniku.
Nisam.
I make sure I have it.
Hvala lipa, adio.
Komu daje? Rekao sam ti da treba biti oprezan s takvim ljudima. Jer vidi, rekao mi je Spliza i došao je neki on je došao po ribu na mati. Jer ona mene spominjava, ali će kolega, pa dobro. Sigurno onda ja kažem
Ili ako vam je toliko hitno da mu vi odnesete na baldahinu.
Okay, but remember, I have no money, so don't go too far.
Možda da i brže, ali ste vi danas...
Direktno kod njega kući. Jel ima nekakav broj telefona da nas zove? Bravo.
Većinu kuće, ali...
ja pojma, opet ta priča.
To mu sin radi, jel? A on, jesam, to što sam sad sve sam pobrkala nešto. Nešto sam pobrkala.
Backwards.
Ne znam ti, dragi moj, ništa, ja sam, oni kad su me pitali, jesi li
Ok, hvala lipa.
Would you be able to replace the match band?
It broke.
Yeah, it's weird.
On je original.
Oh.
Only original.
Oh,
You'd have to send it back to the company probably.
well, I have one at home, but you can't remove this. It comes off. And it's just a pin.
Or other.
Any watch band.
Yeah, any other band. Yeah, if you could put a different.
Yeah, I know that's one of the kind.
It doesn't matter.
Leather, silicone.
Whatever.
Oh, spandex?
No, whatever you got. He said leather, silicone, and it doesn't matter.
Do you have any expandable?
Šefe, mogu to ostaviti, ovo sam ti jedan put rekao da je pukla švera, vidiš ovo.
Samo švera, ništa drugo.
I ne radim onaj, slabo navija, opruga ona.
Ovo prije jeseni.
Like stretchy.
Kako prije jeseni?
I don't see that.
Neću moći prije jeseni napraviti.
A može ostaviti kod tebe?
Može.
Aj, nek stoji kod tebe.
Ne smije. Aj, navratit ćeš mi.
This is what they have, Rick.
Right. So I'll take anything.
Anything.
Nemojte.
Dobre.
Nemojte, ajde.
Ostavio bi ti još jedan, zaboravio sam. Džepni muški, ja mislim da je privijen. Ja mislim da je privijen.
Znate kada ću ga moći napraviti? Na jesen.
Šta onda da ga ništa, onda na jesen ćemo se, ali dobro. Ja mislim da je privijen. Nije u mene uopće on bija. To mi je od rođaka. Dobre. Dobre. Onda za ovo ćemo se čuti.
Za ovo ćemo znati kako budete.
Do kada radiš?
Do podne i pol.
Dobro.
Do you have spandex?
Stretch.
The stretchy kind. No buckle.
Jel moja červonet kod tebe ostala sat na provjeru? Nisam sigurna, ja sam poslala, ali ne znam li u tebe poslala.
Koje ime bilo?
Vasmanović. Onaj...
I don't care.
That's what he likes.
Easy to put on. It's just easy to
Ušla je
put
voda
on.
u njega bila, pa zato.
Jel možete počekati? Nema se žuri?
Moram ići dalje do sljedećega.
It's not for looks. I just want my watch for vacation.
He likes the ugly old man kind.
I don't care how ugly it is. It's not for you, it's for me.
5 minutes.
That's perfect.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Ja mislim da je puno je onaj sat što se popravljali. Ušlo je u njega, ne voda, nego ono kao zamaglija se.
Znate kakvi je sad?
I'm going to take this thing out.
Well, just give me your €5 before you go. Oh, I thought you were leaving.
No, I'll pay with a Visa.
Ma ima dragi, ja uvijek ove standardne ljude što kad mi treba oni uma uleti. Ma sve mi je jasno.
Nice variety. Oh, and I don't need this one.
Beautiful clocks. Oh, it's gorgeous.
Dobar dan.
Imam paket će vam 50
Aha.
kuna.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're a rock star. Nah, you don't
Oh,
want it.
except it's
You don't
backwards.
want this, do you?
Well, what if I change my mind? It'll just go in the trash here, you know that. Oh, now I know what time it is and everything. Yay!
Only cash.
Cash. Okay. How much?
Iz Zadra priče, sigurno.
You have euro? Is that okay?
Okay.
Ma mene užao, Ante zvati da idu nazad.
Oh, is the coin kuna?
Na mukama
That's just $1. Here, give it to him for a tip. Oh, since you were so nice.
It's not an insult.
No,
We just want to get rid of our kuna. Because we're leaving.
We're leaving. And
No problem.
there's some more.
Wow.
We can't use it.
Thank you, sir.
We're going back to America.
Thank you.
Nobody takes kuna. Oh, this is so fantastic. That really made my day.
So it was about $12, $11.
Hey, look at this parade.
Dinosaur. That was cute. Do you want me to take your box?
Oh, I guess. As long as you're offering.
Oh, I took a bunch of other stuff out of my purse. Oh my God, you are still tangled up.
Don't. It's knotted, and don't try to untangle.
No, this is all I do.
You can do that at home and in your free time. Oh, now
really good that
we can count our steps.
It's really good that we got the money when we did, because he doesn't take cards.
Yes.
Well, when it's a small business like that, they have to pay for each transaction.
Yeah, they don't like that 3% thing.
I don't blame them.
Yeah. A CD shop.
What a nice guy. Busy.
It's the candy bar.
Got it untangled. Do you want to go in here and see if they have any wipes for the glasses?
Any what?
Glass wipes.
No, I have one. But you can if you want. I'm not desperate for a wipe right now.
No, I just thought you wanted to get more.
Yes.
We've got a box.
And if you feel like checking it out, I don't. Jana. Shortel.
There's the bank I was telling you about. She said it was, oh, it's open now. I suppose it was closed.
We're not, you know where you're going?
Yeah, I was just going.
That's good. Well, you know, well, or he was just,
What do you want?
we should probably just go back. But at least we know we have time if you want to get a refreshment. All right. Can you play follow me, follow you?
Phil. This is the park we were in on our way in.
I'm glad you know.
I just love having free time.
And no hurry.
No, I just want to see the town. So
Whoop. Hey.
Kent Bank.
Kent Bank. You got it.
Picture of them.
Yeah.
Had to get a picture of that for your brother. Let me get a picture
brother.
of you with your Elroy stick.
Elroy, yes, Elroy. So,
No, we go this way.
okay.
You
I
go
want to stay
down-
off the road.
No, you go downhill all the way to the water.
Oh, yeah.
And then you take a left.
You're so smart.
No, I listen.
You listen too.
That's, if I like it, she was so interesting.
Doggy.
She was so interesting.
Oh, she was so good. And did you see number 35 coming in behind us in the
How
church?
rude.
Well, there you go. That's what we
God,
would have
she was
gotten had
just-
we waited another 10 minutes.
She was so rude.
We need to get further early.
Take a puppy.
Yeah.
God, the gardens are so beautiful.
And cool.
I gotta get something to drink. I'm dying.
Yeah, we.
No, I didn't get to eat all my breakfast. I was just, rushed. Take a picture of her ass.
Says, no dog. No, 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 no. There's a whole lot of no's.
Every view just keeps getting better.
The water. I remember that. It's just how we came up.
See, if you're with me, you're good. I'll take care of you. I'll be your tour guide.
You're my buddy. Guy.